Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today, bringing you a Fallout 4 wishlist video on a Thursday. Yay, we did it, people. We got it on the right freaking day. Anyways, before anything, be sure to check out the link in the description to my previous video. That is a discussion about the rumored Elder Scrolls 6 Argonia. Anyways, this series is created by your comments, so be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see in the next installment of the Fallout franchise. If your comment is awesome enough, you will be featured along with two other commenters in the video, like Bongo King. He says, I would like there to be an endgame boss fight, similar to E19 in Skyrim, someone who is going to be challenging and will only appear once you reach max level. Now, max level aside, I really like this idea. I believe E19 was in the final DLC for Skyrim. Correct me if I'm wrong, I do apologize. But that was a really tough boss fight. I remember getting my ass beat by this thing left and right. I actually ended up never really beating it because I wanted to explore it, find rares, make videos and all that stuff for that DLC at the time. But I thought it was such a cool idea. And I really like what he has the idea here of, you know, being a quote endgame, you know, extra content to do once you're at that final level. But this isn't an MMO. I also like the idea of a ending of the actual end of the game, like the final level type boss fight. Now, I don't think Fallout's going to turn into this third-person action game where you're going to be utilizing combos and stuff to do the final boss fight, and it's going to be unique and varied. But comparing the ending of Fallout 3 to New Vegas, not from a story context, from a gameplay context, okay? So your personal opinion is coming from gameplay, and both games are relatively similar. Where in Fallout 3, through the story, they brought in Liberty Prime, which made that final level really unique. Aside from that, you really didn't do anything that was crazy unique until you put in the code at the end and yada yada yada. You know, with Fallout New Vegas, for example, though, it didn't feel as climactic because you're just running along the Hoover Dam, shooting enemies you've shot before, kind of doing the same thing over and over, and though in the end you make a crucial decision that has lots of endings and stuff, still, it didn't feel like that much of an end game. And I'm not saying, like I said, that Fallout needs these crazy boss fights, but I think that it would be cool to add these much tougher enemies, and especially one at the actual end of the game. But after that game, once you finally beat it, I like the idea of adding more enemies like Ebony. I'm sure this was inspired from last week's wish list about legendary creatures, and I do like the idea where you're coming from, Bongo. So yes, let's move on to the next wish from Requiem HD. And he said, fun fact, there has been many celebrity voice actors in Fallout, including Liam Neeson, Ron Perlman, and Matthew Perry. Now, naturally, this isn't really a wish. He's not saying I want voice actors like that. Well, you know what? Matty wants them. Honestly, Bethesda has a knack for getting pretty good voice actors in the games they are involved with, it seems. The Elder Scrolls Online voice actors were actually very talented. There's a very impressive cast there. Skyrim was pretty good. As you can see, Fallout has a good track record. Even The Evil Within, I believe one of their voice actors is Freddy or something like that. I don't remember, but it's more so because I'm not really paying attention to that game as much. But point being is that Bethesda has a knack for getting very renowned voice actors into their game, and I think they should keep that track record up. Naturally, because I'm a sucker for awesome voice actors. I know that sounds like kind of like a given, but there are games like, for example, I don't know if you guys know who Yuri Lowenthal is. He's the voice of Yosuke Hanamura in Persona 4. He's Sasuke from Naruto, and he's Prince of Persia. He's the Prince. He's in a lot of games. And for me personally, if I hear his voice in a video game, I instantly get hyped because his voice acting is unreplicatable. He has a voice that is so unique in the game industry, and I get excited, and it's actually a point where if I hear a game has Yuri Lowenthal in it, I get interested in it a lot more than I originally was, I can't lie. And with this being said, I think that Bethesda should kind of take that idea of getting these awesome voice actors in, because it really does count in your game. And naturally, obviously, you want good voice talent regardless, but I'm just saying, you know, from my perspective personally, there are voice actors that I can list that would help sell the game. Anyways, awesome wish. Moving on to the final one from Books Are Bad. Climbing options. I'm not a big fan of the idea for vehicles like some others, but some simple ways to attach a rope or a zip line to get down off a cliff or off one of those damn satellite towers would be great. Also, adding one of those shootable cloth things with a rope would give Bethesda more places to hide cool shit that are harder to find and get to than, for instance, the alien gun. So, I like the idea you're coming for. We have talked about climbing and sprinting and all that stuff in this series, but I figured that this is kind of an overall traversal idea. And a lot of people are like, why can't you do parkour in Fallout? And I'm like, dude, because I'm carrying around the fucking big gun. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to use parkour, or the Fat Man, I mean. You know, but I like the idea he's got here. Now, I don't think we're going to be getting any bat claws in this game, assuming that's what he means by a shootable claw thing. But I like the idea of climbing or getting to the end of the area and kind of bringing you down to a central area from a zip line, or climbing down a rope along a wall, so that it's not annoying. Where Skyrim had a very great system where it was always you'd go through one end of the cave and out the other. It was never go through this cave and then turn around and come all the way back. It was a very smooth, you know, you'd go through the cave and you'd exit out somewhere else and you'd open up this another area and you'd see a bunch of more waypoints on your map of places you could go, and from there you go into another area. And I think that the idea of that being pulled into here would be very cool. You know, you go through this cave and you come at the end and you're like above and you're at this unique sightseeing area or something like that, where you can look over a lot of the wasteland, but there's a zip line, so once you're done kind of looking at that, that's kind of your treat at the end of the cave, along with some treasure. I apologize if you hear the phone in the background. Basically, if you hear, you get this treasure and then you take the zip line down. So naturally, it's one of those things where it just kind of makes traversing the area a lot easier. Climbing around and stuff seems like a good idea as well. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments down below. I once again apologize for the phone in the background. Again, my grandma has Alzheimer's and she keeps calling the house during the recording. So I hope you guys can understand. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed once again. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.